Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna and welcome all the devotees. So today I have been given the service to discuss about Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2nd, first chapter, first sloka, 2.1.1. Zoom. Perfect. So let us start. We are already a little late. I also welcome all the devotees online, Ayushi Mataji and Lipshita Mataji. This can go. श्रीशुक उवाच वर्याने शते प्रश्नाः कृतो लोकाहितं नृपा आत्मवित्सम्मता पुंसाम् श्रोतव्यादिषु यः परः श्रीशुक उवाच वर्याने शते प्रश्नाः कृतो लोकाहितं नृपा आत्मवित्सम्मता पुंसाम् श्रोतव्यादिषु यः परः श्रीशुक उवाच वर्याने शते प्रश्नाः कृतो लोकाहितं नृपा आत्मवित्सम्मता पुंसाम् श्रोतव्यादिषु यः परः श्रीशुक उवाच वर्याने शते प्रश्नाः कृतो लोकाहितं नृपा आत्मवित्सम्मता पुंसाम् श्रोतव्यादिषु यः परः श्रीशुक उवाच वर्याने शते प्रश्नाः कृतो लोकाहितं नृपा आत्मवित्सम्मतां पुंसाम् श्रोतव्यादिषु यः परः श्रीशुक उवाच वर्याने शते प्रश्नाः कृतो लोकाहितं नृपा आत्मवित्सम्मता पुंसाम् श्रोतव्यादिषु यः परः. Okay, we can start. Word meaning, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Suka Uvacha, Shri Sukdev Goswami said, Varyan, glorious, Eshaha, this, Te, your, Prashnaha, question, Krata, made by you, Lokahitam, beneficial for all men. Nripa, O king, Atmavid, transcendentalist. Sammata, approved. Pumsam, of all men. Srotavya adishu, in all kinds of hearing. Yaha, what is. Parha, the supreme. Translation. Sri Sukdev Goswami said, My dear king, your question is glorious because it is very beneficial to all kinds of people. The answer to this question is the prime subject matter for hearing and it is approved by all transcendentalists. So these are three qualities of a good question. Three qualities are being discussed. One, it is beneficial for everyone. Second, it is about the prime subject matter, that is the purpose of life. And third, it is approved by all transcendentalists. It is not concocted. Perfect. Even the very question is so nice that it is the best subject matter for hearing. Simply by such questioning and hearing, one can achieve the highest perfection stage of life. Because Lord Krishna is the original Supreme Person, any question about him is original and perfect. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that the highest perfection of life is to achieve the transcendental loving service of Krishna. Because questions and answers about Krishna elevate one to that transcendental position, the questions of Maharaj Parikshit about Krishna philosophy are greatly glorified. Maharaj Parikshit wanted to absorb his mind completely in Krishna, and such absorption can be effected simply by hearing about the uncommon activities of Krishna. For instance, in the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that simply by understanding the transcendental nature of Lord Krishna's appearance, disappearance, and activities, one can immediately return home back to Godhead and never come back to this miserable condition of material existence. It is very auspicious, therefore, to hear always about Krishna. So Maharaj Parikshit questioned Sukdev Goswami to narrate the activities of Krishna so that he could engage his mind in Krishna. The activities of Krishna are non-different from Krishna himself. As long as one is engaged in hearing such transcendental activities of Krishna, he remains aloof from the conditional life of material existence. श्री राधा माधव की जय, श्री गौर निताई की जय, जगन्नाथ बल्लेश्वर महारानी की जय, पंच तत्व की जय, लक्ष्मी नरसिंह देव प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, गिरिराज महाराज की जय, वन्य देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय, जगत गुरु शिल प्रभुपाद की जय. As long as one is engaged in hearing such transcendental activities of Krishna, he remains aloof from the conditional life of material existence. The topics of Lord Krishna are so auspicious that they purify the speaker, the hearer, and the inquirer. They are compared to the Ganges water which flow from the toe of Lord Krishna. Wherever the Ganges water go, they purify the land and the person who bathes in them. Similarly, Krishna Katha or the topic of Krishna are so pure that wherever they are spoken, the place, the hearer, the inquirer, and sorry, the similarly Krishna Katha or the topics of Krishna are so pure that wherever they are spoken, the place, the hearer, the inquirer, the speaker, and all concerned become purified. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरौ श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं सात्वतं सावधूतं परिजन चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे ओम महोदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरतुसे नमः. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते. तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. मुखं करोति वाचालं पांगुं लंघयते गिरिं तत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरम्. नमस्ते अलग्रह, नमस्ते मूसलयोधा, नमस्ते रेवतीकान्ता, नमस्ते भक्तवत्सला, नमस्ते धारणिधार, नमस्ते बलनम शेषलकलम्बरे, नमस्ते स्तुतिमां कृष्णपूर्वजा. नित्यानन्दमहं नौमि सर्वानन्दकरं परं हरिनाम पदं देवम् अवधूत शिरोमणिम्. So This is a very glorious verse of Srimad Bhagavatam because the theme of this verse is on hearing. What should be heard, how it should be heard. So therefore, I have tried to collect a lot of material because whole Bhagavatam is practically speaking about the glories of proper hearing. So there is unlimited matter on this sloka practically, right? So I've tried to collect something from different places of how great devotees of Krishna have actually exemplified this quality of hearing properly and how they are teaching by their own example that conditioned souls like us should actually take advantage of this great facility given only in human life of hearing the subject matter related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When we hear this from the right source, with the right attitude, in the right environment, in the right association, then the effect of hearing is that it purifies our heart. So I would like to start with a story, and Amoglila Prabhu narrates this story, and other devotees also. So there was once a businessman who had a parrot in a cage. He had a pet parrot in the cage, and that businessman had a uh, has a habit of going to different Bhagavatam kathas, right? So every day he used to go in different kathas and come back and narrate that to the parrot. And the parrot used to, parrot repeats everything. They learn and repeat. So he was hearing every day whatever he was telling. But something like this katha is there. Like every day he was coming. So one day he was going to some katha vachak and he told parrot, I am going today to this. Do you want to ask anything? Do you have any question? So parrot said, go and ask him, how can I escape from the cage? How can I escape? So though the businessman was like, what kind of question is this? But he said, okay, I'll ask. So he went and asked the Kathavachak. He said, my parrot asked. After the Katha finished, he went and said, I have a parrot who used to come daily in your Katha, but today he has not come. He has asked this question to you. So he told, the question is, how the parrot asked, how can I escape from the cage? So as soon as the Katha Vachak, the speaker, heard the question, he became unconscious and he fell on the ground. So this businessman was like little bewildered. What is happening? What happened? Was my question wrong or something or what? So anyways, after some time he went back to home and he told parrot, so did you ask my question? He said, yes, I asked your question. What happened? I don't know, something strange happened. As soon as I asked your question, the speaker actually fainted and fell on the ground. So parrot said, okay. So did you understand anything? So parrot said, yes, I understood what he meant. So, but the Kathavachak was confused completely. Next day, the businessman was confused. So next day, when the businessman in the morning came back to parrot, he said that he saw that the parrot was lying dead in the cage. So he thought he's dead. So as soon as he opened the cage, the parrot flew away. So the parrot got the message from the speaker. And therefore, it is told that not everyone who is sitting in the class will get the message. Right? So the businessman was going daily to different Katha Vachak. He was hearing, he was doing all sorts of rituals of going and hearing Katha. But actually, the message was not going in. But this parrot was not able to go, but he actually got the essence. This is the symbolic story of how to get the essence uh, from the words of a great devotee, from scriptures, from Guru Sadhu Shastra. So therefore, allow me a second. And therefore, it is told in 2.1 when you are saying Varyan Esata Prashna. So therefore, the questions has to be Varyan, great questions, glorious questions, right? And therefore, Sukdev Goswami tells Parikshit Maharaj in 2.8.5, he says, Tasmat Bharat Sarvatma Bhagwan Ishwaro Hari Shrotavya Kirtitavyascha Smratavyas Chechatabhyam. Therefore, he says that as soon as one hears the glorious pastimes and activities of Krishna, the fear, illusion, and lamentation goes away from the heart of that person. So as this parrot was daily hearing the imports and purports by this businessman from these different speakers. So the fearlessness went away. How it went away? That he finally became free. So we as conditioned souls are also trying to be free from our conditioned living condition. What is the conditioned living condition for us? It is our entanglement in the hopes of getting pleasure in this world. So from time immemorial, we have been interacting with the five elements of this material world. And because we have been trying to extract happiness from a very long time, we have got entangled into our own karmas. So therefore, we are now trying to get free of this, like that parrot wanted to get free. We are also trying to get free. How we will get free? Shrotatavya kirtitavyascha, by hearing and by singing the glories of Krishna and his pure devotees, Vaishnavas. Further, it is told in Bhagavatam 1.2.14 that Tasmad ekena manasa Bhagavan Satvatam Pati Sutattavya Kirtatavya cha Dheyam Puja cha Nityada. How should we do it? We should do it Nitya, repeatedly. Because the impressions in our mind from the time immemorial are so deep, it will be not sufficient that we hear for some time and then leave it. We have to do it repeatedly. So those impressions are removed and new impressions are formed. What impressions? That we are the servant of Krishna. And we start getting pleasure in that. And what happens when we start hearing the different discourses and about the pastimes, glories, Nam, Roop, Gun, Leela, Dham? What happens? Then Krishna personally comes and cleanses our heart of what? The previous impressions. Right. So it is also told in 1.2.17 that Shanvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravan Kirtana Hidi Antasto hi Abhadrani Vidunoti Suhatsatam. So what is removed? The Abhadras in the heart. The unwanted qualities, unwanted impressions, unwanted experiences from all past lives are removed when we hear the glories of Krishna. And that is the process. We hear from the right source and let that hearing go in, and then the Krishna does the job. The glories of Krishna, they automatically clean our heart. This is how it happens. And therefore, there is another story. Once upon a time, there was a rich person. He had a very big villa, like people over here have, and they have good garden outside that villa, right? So some notorious kids, what they did, they heard that this person has made a very good garden and ground in front of his villa. So some of them told each other, why not we go and play there and destroy it? Because it's a very good place and beautiful place to play. So all these notorious children, they go there and they started playing. And every day, this owner of the villa came out. He saw that all his plants, all his flowers were all, disturbed. And every day he used to go and mop everything, put everything in place. But then he used to come in the morning and everything was disturbed. So he told these children, he called one day and he scolded them. Why are you coming and playing in my garden? There is so much place, go and play there. My garden is so expensive. Exotic flowers are there. Why are you coming and daily disturbing it? So he scolded them first day. But the children were notorious. They came back again and they disturbed everything. See, it kept on repeating like that. So one day, this owner of the villa, he was actually also little bit practicing devotee as well. So he knew the art of making people hear the right message. So he carved out a plan. Next day, when the children came and they played, he started paying them. Or he started glorifying them. You are such nice children. You are coming and playing in my garden. You are disturbing it. I am going to pay you 100 rupees to each child. And they were surprised. What is happening? Till now, he was scolding us. Today, he is paying us 50 rupees. So they started discussing amongst themselves. Maybe he is liking our batting and bowling. He likes how we play. So therefore, he is paying us. We deserve it. So after some time, after a week, he increased his payment. He said, "Now I will pay you 100 rupees. You are playing so nicely." And after 1 week, he increased it to 200. Now I'm so happy with you. So after a few months, he stopped paying at all. One day he said, "Now I'm not going to pay you anything." So the children discussed amongst themselves and he said, we are such great players, and you will not pay us anything. We will not come here from the other day. From the next day, they never came to that garden. So, like that, this person actually carved out a very intelligent plan of making use of the lower propensities of those people. Of right. So, therefore, in the same way, the message of the from the pure devotees and from Vaishnavas sometimes can be very direct and hurting, but we don't want to take it. Therefore, they carve out a indirect plan. They carve out a very indirect, and that's how all of us came. So we were told, "Hey, come chant 2 rounds, take prasadam, dance. This is life. This is devotional life." Right? Because if we would have been told that we have to understand someone, the prayojan, abhideya, then we would have never entered this center again. Right? So what they do, they actually carve out a plan how to gradually move us away from our lower propensities that we have gathered over life, like our attachment to our uh, desires, our goals of life, and all. So they reduce it gradually, and they increase our attachment to Krishna gradually. That is the intelligent plan of Vaishnavas, how they do it, and it is very necessary for people in this age. Otherwise, if we go direct, as Parikshit Maharaj was saying Sukdev Goswami was talking to Parikshit Maharaj, direct, only to the point, only glories, cut everything else. It will be very difficult for us to accept. Very difficult. So, therefore, it is told people in this world who don't want to hear the glories of the Lord or they are not interested in associating with Vaishnavas, they are compared to dogs, hogs, camels, and asses. Right in 2.3.17, it's told, Nayat karna pathopeto jatu nama gadhagrajaha. If they are not making use of their ear, which is the most important sense in Kali Yuga, then essentially they are compared to what? Animals. They're compared to animals. Because animals, if you there is a saying also, right, in Hindi, bhais ke aage been bajana. Correct. So if you go and teach bhais or animal anything, they will keep on chewing like as if that nothing is happening. But so therefore, people who are not using their karna and the holes of karna for letting the sound vibration related to Krishna, related to the glories of Krishna, his devotees, his glorious pastimes enter. They are not letting it enter. Then they are compared to whom? Animals, lower animals, because they have no sense of how to make best use of their senses. Correct. And there is also a deeper meaning to it. The deeper meaning is that it is not always being talked about the flesh ear it is not being talked about this ear. The, this is just a simple symbolic representation of a propensity to hear. The actual hear that we are talking, ears that is being talked about over here is with respect to the spiritual ears. For example, it is not necessary that a person should have these flesh ears to receive the message of Krishna. Right? For example, Prahlad Maharaj, who he was in the womb. At that point in time, his ears were might be not developed. But the spiritual message from Narad Muni went into the womb of the Kayadu and entered into the spiritual ears of Prahlad Maharaj. So therefore, we should always be receptive. And that reception has to come from the chitta, the inner self, the consciousness. Our consciousness should be ready to accept the words from the sadhus. The example that I would like to give here is that we have two kinds of mind. One is the mind that we think, that thinks in the forefront, and there is another kind of mind that thinks in the background. Sometimes it is called a subconscious mind, sometimes it is called a chitta, sometimes people call it the second nature. There are different names people call it. And if you can also do an experiment, you can do right now, you can chant from your front end mind. There is a front end and there is a back end. The front end mind, you can chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. From the back end, you can read everything that is written. So you are chanting, but you are not chanting. Why? Because the back end is not with the front end. There is a disconnect. Right. So the data is not flowing the back end to the front end. And it happens when we chant. We are chanting from our mouth. It seems like we are chanting our 16 rounds, but we are making so many plans. And therefore Prabhupada sings Bada Bada Plan Kari, right? So in the back end, a lot of things are going on. All the data is being shuffled and all the sync async processes are going on and Kafka is running and everything is happening. But in the front end, chanting is going on, right? Sometimes I was seeing a meme on internet where what uh, what they did is they wanted to create an aeroplane and the task was they have to create it in 2 weeks. So what they did, they take, the covering of a used aeroplane, and then they put, and then the crane was lifting the outer covering, and it is flying around because there was no engine. The back end was not there, and therefore we as devotees, when we practice, we have to make sure that both of them come together. And there is a very great devotee in Vrindavan who talks about it a lot. He says there are three levels. One, when we chant, and there is then mind, and then there is chitta. All of them have to be combined together for us to make sure that we are in chanting at any point in time. At any point in time, we have to be conscious, and therefore, Prabhupada says we have to be first conscious and then we become Krishna conscious. That is the meaning of that. We are not conscious. We are like under anesthesia, right? Completely somewhere else. But externally in the front end, we are chanting. So this kind of chanting and this kind of hearing or any kind of devotional limb for that matter will not give us the desired result. It will give, but it will be very, very slow. And therefore devotees like me, like they take very, very long time. But however, we have to be really conscious of the fact that what we are doing at that point in time. And therefore Radheshyam Prabhu tells that if we do one thing at one time, we will become Superman. One thing at one time. That essentially means the same thing. That essentially means your front end, your back end. That is your first mind, your second mind, your chitta and your man. Both of them are engaged in one activity at any point in time. And it comes by practice. It comes by practice. It takes time because in the material world, we are taught in a way that if your both of them are acting differently, you are smart. So you're talking something, but you're thinking, you're planning ahead. You're judging people. You're acting smart. You are taking care of all the 360-degree views. Like you're talking to this person, but you are also thinking of other things. These kind of people are considered to be very smart, right? But people in the material world who do one thing at one time, what they are speaking, they are also thinking, and they're speaking from heart. These kind of people are considered to be dumb and slow. ये बहुत धीरे सोचता है. Like people who are like very passionate, smart in the material world, and therefore there is a disconnect. And we as devotees have to live both the lives, and therefore we have to become a split personality. Sometimes you see right in psycho serials, there is a split personality. The person is very good in the day, but in the night he becomes a serial killer, like that. In the night, he will take a knife and wear the overcoat and hat and goggles, and he'll go in the streets and kill and stab people like a split personality. We have to be like that almost. So when we are amongst devotees, we are like Hare Krishna Prabhu, and we are chanting and we are doing devotional service, and we want to make our back end and front end together. There has to be a sync process between them. But when we go out, it has to be, we have to break it. We have to look like we are very smart. We are passionate about what we are doing, right? And therefore, there is a split personality within devotees. Very difficult. And therefore, many devotees complain. Practically, they ask these questions. Prabhu, when we go to office and we practice these devotional principles, like we are considered a fool. Nobody will appreciate us in office, right? But actually, senior devotees tell a lot of ways in which we can marry both of these personalities together. And that is by becoming genuine. Genuinely, we have to become a devotee. And when we become a devotee by the mercy of Krishna, by the mercy of Acharyas, we get the right set of intelligence to act in a right manner in the material world also. So we don't have to become them. We have to be ourselves, but we have to take that trade-off, that red line. Kitna jana hai? Like the other day, I was giving the example of a kabaddi. You see kabaddi, the person who goes into the other area is very cautious every time. Kitna dur jana hai so that I don't get caught. So by the mercy of the acharyas, by the mercy of senior devotees, by the mercy of them practicing for a very long time, they give us practical practical guidance, and we also, observe ourselves, and then we can, learn that art of being ourselves, but at the same time acting in an appropriate manner so that we get our desired results in the material world also. We don't lag behind too much. Of course, the idea is not that we have to be first in material world also. That is not the idea for material for devotees. That is not the top priority for us. If we become well and good, if we have those art, we know that art, we have that characteristic, we have skills, it is good. But that is not our top priority. Top priority is even if we are average in material world and our work is going on, it is okay. But we have to be top notch in our devotional practice. A devotional practice have to be top notch, right? So that is the practical aspect of it. And therefore, if you see gopis in 10th canto, so much glorification is being done of how the damsels of Vrindavan, they remember Krishna, they talk about him. Though materially, if you see, they are not educated much. They're not educated much. And therefore, they sing in 1031:9, right? We are singing a lot, Tav Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam. So they are saying all the miseries of this life, they are gone just when we sing the glories of Krishna and we hear the glories of Krishna. And therefore, when Uddhava, when he came to deliver the message of Krishna to the residents of Vrindavan, Nand Maharaj, Yashoda Maya, and Gopa and Gopis, he was surprised of how much Gopis were habituated of thinking about Krishna. Always they were habituated. And this, when Uddhava looked at it, their second nature was to always think of Krishna. And they were lamenting about Krishna. Then he was really surprised. He was really surprised. And he himself became a great, his devotional understanding changed. And therefore, Krishna, that was the second reason why Krishna sent Uddhava to Vrindavan as well. And in the 10th, 12th canto, we see a lot of glorification of why we should take to this process of hearing devotional service and hearing Bhagavatam. And therefore, Bhagavatam glorifies itself in 12th canto. It says, Sarva Vedanta Saram hi Sri Bhagavatam Ishyate. So, of all the essence of the Vedas is found in what? Srimad Bhagavatam. And therefore, if we hear Bhagavatam from the right source, with the right attitude, then that message will very soon go in and it will cleanse the heart, as we were discussing previously. And therefore, some time back, Mahanand Prabhu, I suppose, came. He also spoke on the same verse. So he told very many nice things. I am also prepared some notes from that as well. So he was telling that this prashna is variyan because it is about shreyas and not prayers. It is about the ultimate goal of life, the ultimate benefit, not short-term benefits. So all of us actually require both kind of benefit, short-term and long-term. It is not that the short-term pleasures or short-term benefits are not required by him. They are. But our inquiry should not be towards the short-term uh, pleasures and benefit. Inquiry should be towards the ultimate benefit. And therefore, he was telling that these prashna of Parikshit Maharaj is Variyan because he's talking about the ultimate. What is the ultimate duty of a person who is in the last stage of life? How he should execute his duties? All these prashnas he was asking. And therefore, he says the Krishna Katha, and in this also it is told, the example of Ganges is given. So when Ganges starts from Gangotri, he flows to different pastures of land, and then finally he enters into the ocean. While on all these three or four places, like on the origin, while it is flowing, whoever touches it, when it is entering the ocean, all the places are like glorified. Gangotri is glorified, all the states from which the Ganga passes are glorified, and then Ganga Sagar is glorified. Correct. Great rishis have gone and done tapasya there. Similarly, when a place where Krishna Katha is done, the glories of Krishna are discussed, how Krishna is magnanimous, how much he loves the jivas who have been stuck in this material world for so long, where all these qualities of Krishna are being discussed. The speaker, the hearer, the inquirer, and the place all are glorified, like the Ganges. Wherever it goes, it glorifies everything. In the same way, it is not only the speaker is getting benefited, the hearer also is getting, the inquirer. And over here, especially the inquirer is being glorified because of his Glorious inquiry. The speaker is motivated to speak on the glorious subject matter. And those subject matter, when spoken, then it is heard by the audience, and then everybody gets benefited. And the place becomes Tirtha. And therefore, Kunti Devi is also not talking about short-term pleasures because they have Pandavas after the war have already got the short-term benefits. They have become the king. They have completed the Rajasuya, right? And then Krishna is going. So Kunti Devi is actually not very concerned about the short-term gains that they have got. So she is telling if in case by your presence, if the miseries are there and then you are staying with us, then let the miseries be there, right? So that is the long-term vision she is having. Okay, I have some more. I wanted to actually go from Canto 1 to Canto 12 and get all the uh, acute references to the glories of hearing. But I think there are a lot many slokas. I kind of calculated on a high level. There were around 85 or 90 verses which were directly talking about the glories of hearing from first canto to 12th canto. I was yesterday actually doing this quite a long time. Then I thought I will pick only the important ones and then we will speak about it. 87 is not possible. For example, in 12:54, let me just quickly open it. So the slok is something like this. The verse is like this. यशः श्रियामेव परिश्रमः परो वर्णाश्रमाचर तपाशुतादिषु अविस्मृतिः श्रीधरपाद पद्मयोर्गुणानुवाद शृणुवादर आदभिः. So what it is saying, the great endeavor one undergoes in executing the ordinary social and religious duties of the Varnashram system, in performing austerities and in hearing from the Vedas, culminates only in the achievement of mundane fame and opulence. This is 12th canto. But by respecting and attentively hearing the recitation of transcendental qualities of the Supreme Lord, the husband of the goddess of fortune, one can remember his lotus feet very easily. Right? Glories of hearing from the right source. There is one more important point that I wanted to mention about the quality of hearing is that there are different kind of hearers as well, listeners. And we have already discussed when Mahanand Prabhu came. So there is a fish listener, swan, parrot, and chataka. So fish is like fully absorbed with eyes wide open. They're completely absorbed. They're not dozing in between like that. So one devotee, I think Amog Lila Prabhu, someone he was at one point in time very humorously telling there are different kind of japas. So one is a pandulam japa. Like that. And then there is a radar japa, radar. As in, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. He's observing everything. He's observing everyone. And there are different kind of japa he was telling. So I was, and then he finally told that one japa is like what Radhanath Maharaj, how he does, like eyes wide open, very attentive, both the front end and back end, completely absorbed in one activity at that point in time, complete. He's completely conscious. Fish is like completely, fully listening, eyes wide open, no dozing. And then swan listener is like extracts the essence from water and so whatever is non-essential, they will leave it. Only the essential part, Varyan part, as is told in the sloka, Varyan. Whatever is glorious and for the ultimate purpose of life, they will extract it. Rest they will leave. Then, for example, in Bhagavad Gita, at several places it is told that the devotees who are surrendered to Krishna, Krishna will provide everything. So new devotees, they become very enthusiastic when they hear. And therefore, when we go for new house programs and new devotees or college programs, we most of the time cite this sloka, where Krishna says that whatever you have, I will protect, and whatever you don't have, I will give. Right? And people become very enthusiastic, right? Because this is what they wanted. And most of the times we cite this sloka. But devotees, the real devotees, they will actually not be enthusiastic about knowing this aspect of Krishna because they're taking service. And therefore, senior devotees tell that we are not here to take service from Krishna. We are here to what? Give service. Right? And therefore, devotees don't become very enthusiastic when they hear, oh, Krishna will protect whatever I have. He will become my bodyguard. No, we don't want that. So therefore, Swan, we don't, okay, this is spoken by Krishna, therefore we take the essence, but our mentality is not that, yeah, Krishna should come and protect whatever I have. That mentality is not there. And then there is parrot listener, that whatever he heard, he goes and preaches and repeats it to other people like that. And then Chataka is like they will wait to hear the right thing. Right? They will wait. Only the first drop of the monsoon or whatever, right? The clouds, they come and they Swati Nakshatra, the first rain, they only take that water. So therefore, a good listener of the kind of a parrot, they will hear only from the right source. Otherwise, they will wait. They will not waste their time going here and there. Right? And then there are also different kind of bad listeners described, Burunda and all, where they speak but they don't practice and stuff like that. They're lazy. They go to anywhere. Bull listener, they can go and anywhere. Camel listener, where they eat their own blood, but they think that it is tasty. The thorns are tasty, so they will leave mango leaves, but they will, if you give them mango leaves, they will not. They will spit it away. What is this? But if you give them thorns, they will eat it. Like there are different kind of bad listeners as well. So we have to focus on the good part. We have to become good listeners. We have to be attentive. We have to extract the essence. We have to be whatever we hear. We have to practice and we have to preach it further. And we have to wait for the right message. Only from the right source we should hear. Right? These are the qualities of good hearers. And therefore, Sotavyadishu yah para in this slok, when it's told, Sotavyadishu yah para is very important to be always eager to hear and lend our ears to the right source. It is told in Kali Yuga the most important sense is ear, because, and Srila Prabhupada gives an example, even if we are sleeping in the night, right, all our senses and everything is kind of dormant. But if in case you call the person by the name, he will get up, right? So therefore, the dormant Krishna consciousness is sleeping in our heart. Srila Prabhupada writes, all of us are already devotees, just that the dormant Krishna consciousness is asleep within our heart. And therefore, the ear becomes the most important sense. Why? Because the sound vibration, when it goes, it awakens that dormant love. Just like when we call a person, that he wakes from his sleep. Similarly, our dormant Krishna consciousness, which is lying in our heart, when the names of Krishna, glories of Krishna, and glories of Vaishnava enter into our heart from the ear, then our dormant Krishna consciousness becomes enlivened. Okay, we have more time. 5 minutes. I have two more points. We should also consider the fact. See, one important fact why people don't want to hear Katha, Krishna Katha, because it is, it starts Siddhyante Hriday Granthis. What it does, it actually starts cutting the knots of the heart. What are these knots? These knots are our aspirations, or our, what should I call it? Expectations to get happiness in this world. The expectation to get happiness from the relationship, parents, wife. Some devotees who are going to get married, they might be having a lot of expectation. Ave Prabhu is nodding his head. So, so we have to be having very right expectations. What happens? These knots, because we have been practicing from such a long time to get extract happiness from this relationship, from material world, it kind of becomes a knot. If we experience happiness in something, we want to experience it again, and gradually that expectation, that attachment forms in the form of a knot towards our body, towards our desires, towards our aspirations, family, uh, samaj, nation, religion, all these. So what happens when we start hearing, these knots start getting cut, and it is a very painful process. When the knots are cut, it is a very painful process, and most of the people don't want to go through the painful process. Give us easy things. Give us halwa. We will eat it and we become devotees. So everybody wants ready-made halwa, right? But that is not like that. And but however, because devotees are very intelligent, and that intelligence is also coming from Krishna and acharyas. So therefore, we kind of give this hard medicine, bitter medicine, wrapped in the form of a candy. So like small children, when they are given medicine, so most of the time, if you go, children medicine is very like this homeopathic thing or like that. They will give sweet candies and then in the that small white balls, right? and within that they will add the medicine. So the children will add the medicine, eat the sweet balls, and they will get the medicine as well. I don't know what we call these small balls of homeopathy. That is an example. I remember my mother used to give me medicine when I was kid. There was a syrup, and she used to mix sugar in that, sugar in the syrup, and then she used to make it sweeter, and then we used to consume it like that. So in a similar way, devotees, because they get this intelligence from the our acharyas, they kind of mix, wrap this core message of Krishna, how Krishna is great, how much he loves us, how we have been struggling and getting so many miseries in this material world from time immemorial. Both of these things combined together, they wrap into something these verses. For example, Krishna is merciful, he will protect your belongings, he will give you whatever you want, he will protect you, he'll become your bodyguard, he will become your night guard, please come, like that. So we have to wrap it in that way, and gradually when our understanding and realization about the glories of Krishna, how glorious Krishna is, how glorious the acharyas are. When gradually and gradually our understanding is elevated, then we start taking the hard message as well. When our understanding and realization are increased, then we start taking the hard message. And therefore, whomsoever of us have spent sufficient time in the mission or in the movement, we now are ready to accept the hard message as well. And that's where the critique happens. So there is a difference between criticism and critique. There is a difference. Critique is done by the with the mentality of finding out the right thing, telling someone the right thing, what to do, so that his benefit. Criticism is done with the attitude of finding the faults, to show him that he's inferior or he or she is inferior. There is a difference. And therefore, now that we have spent sufficient time in the movement, we have become, our heart, our mind, our consciousness has become ripe, has become mature enough so that we can also handle critique, proper critique from senior devotees and from the Shastras. So Shastras are actually critiquing us. And Bhagavatam is very straightforward. It is not beating around the bush. It is straightforward. That if you are not using your ears, as it is told, if you are not using your ears, you are gokhara. That is simple. You are not like inferior human beings or something like that. You are gokhara, like that. Very straightforward. And we are able to digest it because we have spent some time amongst the devotees and by the mercy of devotees. Because our consciousness was hooked with the consciousness of devotees, they have dragged our consciousness to an elevated position. Now when we say that our consciousness has been dragged, it essentially means that it has blossomed a little further. There are different levels of consciousness, how blossomed it is. We are yet not fully blossomed, but our consciousness is getting blossomed. How it is getting blossomed? Because we have associated our consciousness with the consciousness of devotees by the virtue of association, by the virtue of hearing. And that is the last point that I want to make today, is that when we hear from the right source, we are actually letting a hook of hook get into our consciousness, and that hook will pull us further. What is that hook? That hook is the purity of the consciousness of the pure devotees. So when we hear, the Brahman is also getting transferred. The consciousness is also getting transferred. And therefore, it is told in Bhagavatam, we should not hear from professional reciters because they don't have any consciousness for Krishna, loving consciousness for Krishna. And therefore, we should not hear them. They are having consciousness, but that is not what we want. Therefore, why should we attach our consciousness to something which will take us on a ride? Right? For example, in 10th canto, when the pastimes of child Krishna are told, it is told that sometimes he used to hold the tail of the, the calf, and the calf used to run here and there in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj, and Krishna and Balram used to get dragged completely. And sometimes the calf used to run through cow dung, and whole Braj Raj and cow dung used to get smeared on this body. So he's telling that because Krishna is holding the tail of the cow, therefore he is getting the mercy of whom? The Braj on his body. He's showing that. And therefore, when we hold, it is told like senior devotees se dhoti pakad ke rakho. Correct. So the analogy is same. When we hear from senior devotees, we are actually attaching our consciousness to their consciousness, our understanding to their understanding. And therefore, when they take us on a, when by that attachment, by the virtue of that attachment, that association, our consciousness is dragged and elevated. And after some time, we feel like, yes, I am also wanting to hear more. The reason that we today are able to sit here and patiently hear Krishna Katha for 1 hour, if we go 10 years back, or maybe when we were not devotees, go 10, 20, 15, whatever years back, it will be even difficult. Even for a person like me, I used to make fun of my parents. Like, you are so orthodox, you are so like crazy. How can you sit and hear something that is completely impractical? Like, they are such just theories like that. And today we are hearing and speaking such elevated subject matter. Like, it is kind of a miracle Srila Prabhupada has done. And that is because we have all attached our consciousness to Srila Prabhupada's consciousness we have allowed. And Srila Prabhupada has elevated blossomed our consciousness to a stage where we are now able to receive the message. And this ability is very rare. And therefore it is told, Manushyanam Sahasreshu. When you say Manushyanam Sahasreshu, that is the rarity. The rarity of the blossoming of consciousness. And therefore, when it is told that there are 4 lakh types of human beings, those types are basis on the blossoming of consciousness, of how much receptive their consciousness is to understand the subject matter of the ultimate benefit of human life. That is, finally, who we are, who is Krishna, what is my relationship with Krishna, like that. So there are 4 lakh levels. Try to understand. See, the blossoming is happening in so many stages. Some people completely achadit in terms of human beings. You tell them anything, they will not get anything, and everything will pass by. I don't know what you are speaking, and they will do anything else. But after some time, okay, tell me at least you were saying something like that other day. You were telling something about ISKCON, Krishna Prasadam. Tell me something. Later on, okay, take me to the center. Sometimes they will come, sometimes they will not come, but they will maintain their material attachment. They will keep on watching movies. They will keep on chanting, or they will keep a material relationship of girls and all this, and they will keep on chanting more further. They will leave their relationship more further. They will increase their chanting a little bit. Then they will start shifting to center. They will start contemplating, should I start living with devotees or not? And then little more, then they will shift to a yoga or a center. Right, first they will live nearby and then they will shift here. All this is like their consciousness is getting blossomed here gradually and gradually, right? And because of the receptiveness, finally they will come to center. Now they will start doing in center also. They will be in different levels. I am in center, but I will not engage much. I'll do my job, but I will be little far. Just tell me little services, I will do it. I had so many devotees when I was managing a center in Noida, 2011 to 15. So there were many devotees. Prabhu, I am here. I will chant 4 rounds, but I have to focus on my job. You just give me little service. So they will do one service only, and in that time they will come, they will do, and they will go. After that, you will not see them whole day. They will be in your office or their home. Like after that, what happens? Sometime back, they will start taking more responsibilities. Okay, now I am part of the center. I am a part of the family. Give me more services. They will start going out for uh, uh, preaching, book distribution. That is the point where they will start feeling a connection with the movement. Now they have become part of the movement. Now they have started feeling the pain that Srila Prabhupada is feeling, or senior devotee is feeling. We are not exactly feeling the pain that he's feeling, but we are started feeling that pain. Therefore, we will now start thinking about other people. So the same person who was previously living outside and he was hesitant to come and live among devotees, now he's contemplating about bringing others. Now you start thinking, hey, I have a friend, very old friend of mine. We used to drink together. He is still suffering. I am blissful. So I will go and tell him. So he'll take prasadam for him. Gradually he will go. That is where the actual uh, sympathy starts arising. Gradually and gradually he'll start taking more responsibilities. Now I also want to read and give classes. Now he will go out and start preaching. He will open a center, take more responsibilities, become a OC or a base in charge or a yoga in charge. And gradually, this kind of responsibilities, and he will start feeling the pain for the movement, right? For example, so all of you are taking so much pain for maintaining the center. When our crew was not there, everybody was cooking, right? And was engaging. Why? Because we are so fortunate that we have somehow or the other, we have reached to that stage where our consciousness is now ready to accept and leave the previous life. We have left our previous life and we are at this stage and we want to go further. But we have to be careful, like Prabhuji was telling the other day, uh, Abhay Govind Prabhu from Delhi, he was telling that in order to cross this ocean of nations, we have to build a bridge. In order to build a bridge, we have to, when you have to build a bridge within the river, we have to have pillars. In order to make those pillars, we have to those fence. So we have to actually also protect. By the time the pillars are ready, by the time the bridge is there, we have to protect ourselves from the most important thing, which is aparad. And aparad, the most common cause of aparad is familiarity. If we become too much familiar with anyone, either with Shastras or with Guru or with Vaishnavas, we start becoming complacent. And complacency is the first originator of aparadas. Like we know. So therefore, it is also told that we should not read too much. Not reading too much. I mean, reading too much is also very dangerous sometimes, because when you have read too much, you sit in class, and the speaker is saying something, your mind will go off. I have heard this. I know this. So it is coming to you, but it is not entering, because you think I have heard this. And therefore, when we talk about these, um, in the morning we sing the 10 Nama Pradas and then Sikshastakam. Most of the time, I have seen people sing like robots. Why? Because we are singing it daily, we have become so familiar. But however, if you see, of all the avatars, Krishna is the highest. Krishna's mercy manifestation comes in the form of Gaurang Mahaprabhu. Of all the teachings Mahaprabhu has given, Sikshastakam is the crest jewel. And that crest jewel we have become complacent. Like for example, like for example, it is told that of all the dham, Brajbhumi is the best. Of all that, of within Brajbhumi, Govardhan is best. Within that, Radhakund is best. And you go, like you understand, and you go to Radhakund. You go to Vrindavan, and then you walk, and then you go to Govardhan, and you go to Radhakund, and you go there and you go sleep. On the banks of the Radhakund, we go and sleep. Sometimes it happens, we do parikrama. While the time we reach there, we are so tired, we go and sleep before taking Achman also. So it is just like that. We got the highest thing, but we become complacent. Why? Because of the familiarity. So therefore, we have to have those guardrails so that we don't become. And therefore, I am not really a very big fan of doing something on a daily basis in initial stages, because in these initial stages we don't understand the deeper imports of something, and we are just mechanically doing it. Over time, there are high probability, not for everyone, for there is high probability that a person who is not very sincere will become very complacent. Like I practically gave up speaking Sikshastakam and 10 Namaprad when I was in Delhi. Every day they are doing the same thing. As soon as it started, I started doing something else unconsciously. And then I started feeling, what is this? I'm not feeling what Sikshastakam is. It is, Vraj Krishna Prabhu was telling the other day, it is actually taking us from Shraddha to Prem, right? And that thing we are becoming complacent. The reason is because right now we don't understand the gravity. And it is not our fault. It is just the course of action. It is part of the process. Not having gravity at a given point in time and then having gravity, this is part of the process. It takes time. By the time we reach there, that we understand the gravity of the movement, the scriptures, we will not be even keeping this mala like this. We'll be so conscious. Right now it is kept there, we don't care. Sometimes the Madanga is lying on the floor. Madanga is Balram. It cannot be on the floor because we are standing on the floor. So we are actually keeping Balaram on our foot. It is like that. Like that. I mean, I'm not pointing to someone. I'm not pointing to someone, but this is how the consciousness level elevates. Sorry, close the gradually, and we become more and more conscious. And therefore, if you see, one senior brahmachari devotee came, I forgot the name. He was telling that we should not even keep the picture of Prabhupada tilted. And he was so conscious when he was telling that. He was very serious. So just not like just speaking. He was very serious that the Prabhupada's photo should not be kept. Many times I have seen in our homes and in center also, we have so many things that we don't want, that we are not able to keep them properly. Like the books are lying there, Prabhupada's photo is there, Krishna's photo is there, Mahamantra is there. Sometimes the Mahamantra cards that we use for chanting are lying here and there because we are not conscious. Our level of consciousness has yet not blossomed to the stage where we feel the importance and of all these small paraphernalia of Krishna. These are all Balram. Everything is the manifestation of Lord Balram. But it will take time. We will be there. It will take time if we guardrail ourselves from apradhas and complacency, like that. So I will stop here. So today's verse was all about the glorious question, the glorious enquiry, and the glorious answer about the theme of hearing. So we discussed like that. I will stop here. If there are any questions, we can take. We are already over time. So I would like to thank all the online devotees. If you want to continue for your office and your seva and swadharma, you can continue. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu. Yes, that is true. Our consciousness gets elevated from one type to other type. The consciousness is same. It gets elevated from one type to another type. I will also confirm the question, but this is what I understood, and I have also heard. Yeah, that is the. So the question is, if we are in the lower levels of consciousness, how will we recognize that we are in the lower level? That is the caveat. We will not. We will not. And therefore, we have to remain in the association of Krishna. Oh, sorry, in the association of devotees, Krishna's devotees. Because they will elevate us. They will judge us in the right spirit that where this person is, how he can be elevated, and they will give us all the tools, methods, process, and systems required to elevate ourselves. We will not know. A person who is in the tamoguna, he will not know he is in tamoguna unless and until he moves at the border of tamoguna and rajoguna. That's where he starts getting that abhas. Oh, whatever I was doing was tamoguna. And therefore, the association of devotees is also even more glorious. Right? Because many times, I'll give you an example. Many times, people, materialistic people, they give this argument that even if I become dog in the next life, what is the harm? I see so many dogs, they are freely roaming around. They're getting their food. They don't have to go to office. Sometimes they are living in rich villas. What is the problem? The problem is that person is in ignorance. So he is not recognizing the amount of suffering the dog is going through. They will not be able to recognize that. So when our consciousness gets elevated, we start recognizing that what is the suffering in the lower modes of nature. And therefore we become more enthusiastic to move ahead. And to extrapolate the question of yours to where we are right now, if you extrapolate, it is not only for new devotees, even we as devotees, sometimes we become ignorant. In devotional service, there is also a type of ignorance where we don't know where we are and we think like we are devotees. We are devotees. It is called premature transcendence, premature paramhamsa. Prabhuji was telling the other day. Yeah. Gaurang Prabhu tells premature transcendence. Like we have started thinking that whatever I am right now is sufficient. It will take me to back to Godhead. It is sufficient. It is very analogous to a person who is thinking like becoming a dog. Like what is the harm in that. So therefore, we will not be able to understand what kind of bliss it is to become a pure devotee because we have not experienced it. What kind of bliss pure devotees are experiencing when they chant Krishna's name? It is told when they chant Krishna's name, as if the mishri is getting dissolved in their mouth. They are experiencing that taste. But we are not experiencing that taste. And we will not be able to experience. And therefore, we have to remain in the association of pure devotees. They will drag us. The only thing we need to do is to at least maintain that decency of remaining in association. If we leave association because of complacency, aparad, or anything, then our progress will also punarmusika bhav. We'll go back to the same. Yes. Hare Krishna. Sure. Yeah. So when I was telling that point, expectation, the question is for the online devotees that I told that there should not be expectation. It is not that we should be expectation shunya. No, we have to have right set of expectations. And therefore, I was giving that kabaddi example. How far we should go with the expectation with this material world. In fact, Andal and pure devotees, they actually felt that there is no expectation in this material world because they have raised that stage. But at least from our stage, whatever is best, whatever is the right set of expectations, in order to maintain the body and soul together, as Prabhupada tells, we should have them. So the expectation, for example, for us is we will do our job, whatever the expectation is we should do our jobs truthfully, whatever we can in the prescribed amount of time. And then whatever we get, we should donate a part of it for Krishna service. That is expectation. And in order to do that, whatever is required as a pariphernalia, we should do it. Whatever is required. But we should not go too far. Sometimes it happens, the example is given by Gaurang Prabhu of gym. So sometimes when people go to gym, they're very thin, lean, and they when they start going to gym, they have expectation. I will just go to have a good, good looking body. So the clothes look good on me. If you ask anyone who goes to gym, their first expectation is this only. I'm not going to become. Every gym has that photo, that too many muscles. Everywhere muscles are there, like right on the thighs also. Every gym has that photo. Right, when the new person goes to gym, they have expectation. I don't want to become this. This is so bad. I only want to have a toned body, good biceps, good body, no tummy, and so the clothes are looking good on me. But as and when they start doing, they start coming in passion, and then the owner comes and they boost more passion. Right, and gradually their expectation goes beyond what was required. Then they also start thinking, now I will want to have triceps, biceps, three pack, and everything. Right? And then they spend so much money and they start eating all crap and they become ill. So all those problems happen. So by this example of gym, we see we start with expectation, but we go beyond it, and then we get trapped. Right? Similarly, in the material world, what set of expectation are right for us, we should understand and discuss and know for us. Going beyond that can trap us. Hare Krishna. There is a question online as well. Suresh Prabhu, please ask. Suresh Prabhu, if you can hear me, you can ask. You can unmute yourself. Okay, maybe he's not here right.
Okay,
Right at
Prabhu,
this
Hare
moment.
Krishna. Can you hear me? Hare Krishna, Prabhu, can you hear
Overreading
me?
or overhearing can also be dangerous. I have seen that practically. Overreading, people become shushka gyani, mundane, dry speculators. They start speculating too much. When did we fall back from Golok Vrindavan? And there is a huge controversy. When did the jiva fall in the material world from spiritual world? Prabhupada said, you don't need to know. When you will become perfect, you will know, go back to Godhead, you will know everything. So right now, focus of getting out of this material world. So he gives an example: when a person has fallen into the well, should the person be worried about how did he fall in the well, or should he be concerned about getting out of the well? So when you get out of the well, you can figure out whether you slipped or somebody pushed you, you will figure out. Right now, it is important for us that we actually get out of it. And therefore, people who read too much, they get into these kind of controversies. One, I will not take the name, one Prabhupada disciple, after Prabhupada left this material world, he went to Harvard, he did some scholarly degrees, and then he started commenting on Prabhupada's purports that this is wrong, this is right. And then he said this Draupadi Cheer Haran Leela. He said there is no Vedic evidence that this Leela even happened. And he proved in an article, the very controversial article. He proved that Draupadi Cheer Haran Leela never happened. There is no evidence. Why? When Prabhupada said it happened, it happened. Whether it happened in this kalpa or which kalpa, it doesn't matter. If Prabhupada has said something, it is there. That's it. This is our final resort. Prabhupada is the eminent Siksha Guru, preeminent Siksha Guru for everyone. And therefore, these kind of mundane scholarship actually are very dangerous. You will start finding nuances within the philosophy, deep nuances. Many times, Srila Prabhupada in Purport deliberately calls whenever Sankarshan is mentioned or impersonal aspect is mentioned somewhere. Prabhupada writes Supreme Personality of Godhead deliberately. Some devotees have doubt on that as well. Why? Because he's Bhaktivedanta purport. He has given Bhaktivedanta purport. And he knows beyond, so he knows the exact thought process by which that particular purport was spoken. Because he's a Paramhamsa. He knows. Sometimes we speak something for figurative and symbolic purposes, but there is a different intention and intent behind it. Right? So Prabhupada knows those intention and intent behind what was spoken directly as words. We should not be constraining ourselves, our understanding on the literal meaning of things. Right? So therefore, we have to be very cautious. उतना ही पढ़ो जितना बोला गया है. उतना ही सुनो जितना बोला गया है. Too much is very dangerous. I have seen. Most of the people, they ruin their spiritual life. They leave ISKCON many times. And they open their own sanstha. I will now write new Bhagavatam, which is better than Prabhupada's Bhagavatam. Even my father fell to that trap. The reason is that he connected in 1997-8 somewhere, and then he was having strong association. But then some controversy happened in ISKCON Lucknow, and then and then somehow or the other he became so morose to a devotee association, he stopped going to temple. Now, because he stopped going to temple and because he already knew what to do, he started reading a lot. He has read Bhagavatam practically many times over, Ramayana many times over, Gita many times over, and now he has become a Shushka Gyani. So he says, whenever I say, my mother says, let's go to temple, there is Bhagavatam class, he says, whatever they are going to speak, I already know. I can give them class. Like that, he has started speaking. It is a very sad state. You read so much, but you became Punarmusika Bhav. Very sad state. So now we have started taking him gradually again back to devotee association. Some devotees are coming to home like that. The distribution party, one distribution party also stayed at my home in this marathon. Every year they come and stay. I deliberately call them, please come and stay there. And every morning they're doing full program, they're speaking Bhagavad. So somehow or other he is hearing. So it will change over time. But it is very dangerous. Remaining away from devotees and practicing devotional service is also dangerous. It is also dangerous. It will also give us false pride, like this case. So therefore, we have to be very cautious. And we have to follow whatever is told, just follow as it is. Just follow as it is. It will be, the progress will be far more faster. Then you would have thought. So one devotee, I'll tell you in Vrindavan, one devotee what is told, because there is in Vrindavan, there is Ras Vihari Lal, right? They have all Goswami literature. If you enter with money in that shop, the books are so lucrative. you will not be able to resist yourself in buying everything. Everything from Jaiva Dharma to Sat Sandar to Krishna Sandar, everything is there. And that devotee went and he bought everything. 50,000. He bought everything. Because it is good. No, you have a house and all the books are there. You can read anything. Then he started reading Rup Goswami literatures. And Rup Goswami literatures are very, for new devotee, they are very dangerous. Because they are talking about very crude relationship between Radha and Krishna. This is not getting recorded, no? So we can stop.